The automobile industry is facing an unprecedented supply chain crisis, and that has given lucky vehicle owners and dealers a chance to scam the market. But now, Ford has had enough. One of the largest automobile manufacturers on the planet is planning on taking strict action against shady dealers that mark up vehicles at exorbitant rates and resell them into the market. Today, we'll be taking a look at how Ford is cracking down on them. So, without any further ado, let's dive in. The whole controversy around certain dealers marking up their prices reached a new high point when YouTuber RacerX posted a video showing off just how insane his dealer behaved when he went there to buy a Ford EV. According to him, the dealer added over $69,000 worth of market adjustment charges to his final bill, making his total almost twice the suggested retail price by Ford. There's a very good reason why dealers are able to do that. For starters, dealers are taking advantage of the short supply of many of the cars in the market. Since people can't really buy their preferred models wherever they want, they can't really be choosy when it comes to where they buy their cars. Because of this, dealers are able to charge customers way more than they expected because they know the customers are short on options. They justify this by pointing toward market fundamentals, saying that a short supply means prices must be increased. Dealers and resellers of almost every car brand are doing this right now. It's not just Ford, but also Chevy, Toyota, Kia, and every other company you can think of. Another reason why dealers can do this is that there's nothing really stopping them. There aren't any laws that prevent this from happening, since, hypothetically, a person is free to sell a product for whatever price they want as long as customers are willing to purchase it. So why wouldn't they sell it at a higher price when they can earn more money? It's anti-consumer for sure, but at the end of the day, profit is all that matters. On top of that, MSRP literally stands for Manufacturer Suggested Retail Price. It's a suggestion, not a requirement. This means that dealers are literally able to do whatever they want. They don't necessarily have to follow the manufacturer's suggestion. But Ford, of all companies, simply isn't playing with those rules. Once they found out about the insane rates some of the dealers are charging, the company came out with a statement saying, "It has come to our attention that a limited number of dealerships are interacting with customers in a manner that is negatively impacting customer satisfaction and damaging to the Ford Motor Company brand and dealer body reputation." Examples of these negative interactions include demanding that customers who are already on the reservation list for the 2022 My F-150 Lightning make additional deposits or payments. These actions are perceived as threatening customers by withholding their opportunity to convert reservations to orders. The company said this was not permissible under the agreement signed by the dealers. The higher prices are having a massively negative impact on their reputation. And whenever customers are unsatisfied with their dealer, they tend to blame the company behind the dealer instead of the dealer itself. To save themselves from a PR disaster, Ford decided to take some sort of action against these exploitative dealers. Ford CEO Jim Farley, who took over that position in 2020, recently announced that he will be requiring all licensed Ford dealerships to sell electric vehicles at the exact MSRP. Ford's EV business is a lot newer than its gas vehicle business, which is why they're able to do this. Ford has a massive network of dealers, and if they were to force all of them to stick to these new rules, they could potentially lose out on a ton of sales. This is why they're limiting the MSRP requirement to EV dealers specifically. Ford has invited all of its dealers to join the certified EV tier that would give them an official certification from Ford. These will be the dealers that will get each EV the moment that they're launched, and with electric vehicle sales skyrocketing, having such a certification is very valuable for the dealerships. Ford is currently the second best seller when it comes to EVs in the United States, right behind Tesla, but the company is catching up fast. Similarly, Tesla also only sells its EVs at the MSRP. It seems like Ford took a page out of Tesla's book, and many fans of the company are quite happy about that change. Even though it might seem like dealers would simply stop selling Ford EVs if they were restricted to the MSRP, that might not be the case after all. Recently, Ford announced that they might invest over $1 million into each dealership that decides to sell their EVs. The $1 million package would include things like training specialized teams that can help customers know more about EVs, charging infrastructure in all dealerships to create a better support system, e-commerce integration to support online sales at every single dealership, physical experiences like remote delivery available to all Model E customers, and pickup and delivery afforded with a loaner to all Model E customers. And lastly, digital experiences such as Ford Pass. Overall, it would be tough for any dealership to miss out on opportunities like that, even if it means being restricted to selling vehicles at the MSRP. However, many people think that the automobile giant isn't going far enough when it comes to taking action against these shady sellers. As one of the largest companies and one of the most recognized brands in the United States, Ford has near unlimited leverage over some of its dealerships. Many of them rely completely on Ford sales to earn revenue. Yet, the company still makes these weak statements and rule changes as a way of saving face, but still lets 90% of the dealers get off scot-free. They're too scared of taking any real action against this out of fear of losing out on sales. YouTuber RacerX recently launched a petition on change.org asking for dealers to stop marking up their vehicles at exorbitant rates. The petition reached over 35,000 signatures in just 24 hours, and it got even more people talking about the problem. However, at the same time, RacerX praised Ford's CEO for believing in their cause and taking action against the dealerships. So, at the end of the day, what's going to happen? Is this crackdown going to lead to any real changes? Well, probably not. It won't be instantaneous. Ford, like many other automobile manufacturers out there, is planning on slowly changing its entire lineup to EVs sometime in the future. This could take years or decades, but it's going to happen eventually as the technology improves. EVs are going to make up a larger share of Ford's sales every single year from this point, and that means eventually EV sales will make up such a large portion that dealers will be forced to sign the deal with Ford. But of course, that's not going to be instantaneous. The problems being faced by consumers are happening right now, and just telling them that in the future they won't be facing a problem is simply putting a band-aid on a bullet wound. It's not making anyone really feel better. To make matters worse, Ford isn't the first company that has tried to sell vehicles at MSRP before. Back in the early 90s, GM announced a new brand called Saturn that would only sell vehicles at the MSRP. However, the brand ended up being a failure and many dealers outright refused to carry Saturn vehicles. By 2010, the brand was discontinued, and that's why Ford and so many other automakers are scared of making the same changes themselves. At the same time, companies like Tesla have proven to be a success by following the same formula. But Tesla owns the vast majority of its dealerships, so it's not really the same thing. Ford has dealerships in every single corner of the US. It's believed that 90% of the US population lives within 10 miles of a Ford dealership. It'd be impossible to control and monitor all of these dealerships without spending hundreds of millions of dollars. On top of that, Ford relies heavily on these dealerships for the vast majority of its sales. So, even though there officially is a crackdown on greedy dealers who mark up vehicles, it still remains to be seen if the crackdown will have any real results in favor of the consumers. That's a wrap for today's video. Do you think the shady dealer crackdown was deserved? Let us know in the comments below.